Alexandra, and I will be your host for tonight's webinar, Getting Started with Blockchain Programming. Feel free to drop a hi in the chat. Let me know if you can see and hear me. Welcome, everyone. Come in, come in. All right, I'm going to drop a link to the slides for tonight so everyone can follow along if you'd like. Of course, we'll also be screen sharing. Great, thank you, Joseph. Welcome, and thank you for letting me know that you can see and hear me. Awesome, let's jump straight into the agenda for tonight. What are we talking about this evening? Well, first, we're going to discuss us, myself, and Lumiwealth, our online school. Then we're going to get into some of the topics that are in our blockchain programming masterclass. So tonight is like a teaser of what is to come in the actual course. Tonight, we're going to get a bird's eye view of the blockchain ecosystem. Then in the course, we learn a lot more of the details and we build a lot of projects. We're going to cover topics like why learn about the blockchain in the first place, what are Bitcoin and Ethereum, the two most popular blockchains. We're going to also learn how to do blockchain programming. So we have to understand Solidity smart contracts, as well as two popular types of contracts, cryptocurrencies and NFTs. And if you have any questions throughout the night, feel free to drop them in the chat. Ask away. We'll also have time at the end if you have any questions at the end of this webinar. So that is on the agenda. Let's start off by discussing who is on this call. So if you are brave enough to do so, feel free to drop in the chat. What is your occupation? Do you know how to code? And how much blockchain experience do you have? None? Are you a beginner, intermediate, maybe 1 year? Let us know so we can tailor our webinar and our course to you. We want to know who is interested in the course, who is taking the course, so we can make sure everyone gets the best experience. So I will start off while everyone else is typing away. My name is Alexandra Kropova. I am an online instructor here at Lumiwealth, where I teach blockchain programming and Web3. I'm also a developer, so I do teaching and development as well. I invested in Ethereum back in 2017, and since then I have taught thousands of students online, just like you, how to become blockchain programmers, how to build smart contracts and get into the blockchain space. All right, looks like we're getting some messages in our chat. Awesome. We have a message from IT, whose job is in marketing, some coding experience, and beginner blockchain experience. All right, so if you have some coding experience, IT, that is going to give you a leg up in the course because, of course, we're going to learn how to code in Solidity in our course. So if you do have experience in another language, that will give you a leg up. And you're also a beginner in blockchain, so great place to start because we will teach you the whole blockchain ecosystem from the very basics and then up. We also have Alicia, a crypto day trader and investor with 5 years experience in crypto. Awesome. Sounds like Alicia has some experience in investing, perhaps in the crypto space. And now you're interested in getting into the programming side of crypto. We also have a message from Joseph, a data scientist, new to programming, spaghetti code at best. All right. Well, that's totally fine if you're new to programming because we will teach you how to code from the fundamentals of programming. So everything starting at the basics with variables and loops and then advancing in difficulty with each week of our 8-week course. And all the code is in Solidity for the Ethereum blockchain. We also have Reginald, a network monitoring engineer with coding experience, but not blockchain. And I have invested in Bitcoin. All right, so again, if you have coding experience, that will definitely give you a leg up with learning Solidity and building out smart contracts. And no blockchain experience, so you'll learn everything you need to know in our masterclass. We also have a message from Jacob, really interested, new industry for me, and have tried to learn on my own for a couple months, but lots hindering me. That's true. It's hard to learn on your own, especially if you are a beginner. There's a lot of information out there. You don't know what to learn, really. You don't know if you're learning the right thing. Might get information overwhelmed. So that's why we built this course with that streamlined curriculum for people like you. All right, we also have Morris. Hello, everyone. I'm a beginner to blockchain. All right, very common, Morris. Most of my students are beginners. All right, we have Darrington as well, a data scientist with Python experience, machine learning and artificial intelligence experience, intermediate coding experience, but beginner in blockchain. Awesome. All right. We also have Nathaniel, cloud engineer with basic Python and new in blockchain. Okay, so sounds like we have some coders in the audience. Most of the time, I don't actually get many coders, but tonight looks like we have some coders. Awesome to see. But most of you are new in blockchain. We also have Naveed, marketing background with basic Python experience, but new to blockchain. All right, great to hear, everyone. Okay, we have Robert, a retired IT guy, developer with Python, R, and machine learning experience. Great, sounds like we have some experienced coders. So you all will definitely have a leg up with learning Solidity. All right, so the chat message is winding down. So let's get into our introduction. Feel free to keep chatting away throughout the night, letting us know who's on the call and any questions you might have, any comments. Feel free to chat away. Before we jump into our topics for the night, I want to introduce Lumiwealth. So Lumiwealth is our online school where we focus on financial courses such as crypto trading with algorithms and algorithmic trading, options trading. But recently we've been getting more into programming such as machine learning and now the blockchain space, because it's hard to avoid in the financial industry, with courses like blockchain programming and similarly Web3. So here we are at Lumiwealth. Feel free to visit our website if you haven't before, lumiwealth.com. We also have a YouTube channel where we post webinars like this and free tutorials. So I encourage you all to head on over to youtube.com, search up Lumiwealth. Here you can check out some of our previous webinars that we've done and some short tutorials that we've posted. So please subscribe and get notified. I will drop a link in the chat to any of you that haven't visited our YouTube channel before. We do post regularly. Also, those of you watching on YouTube, we do have a Circle community. So of course, if you're on Circle right now, you know about Circle. But if you are watching this in post, perhaps on YouTube, we do have a Circle community where we chat away. You can ask questions here at Circle, lumiwealth.circle.so. You can also watch webinars and interact with us at our live webinars. We also have a Discord channel where you can join as well. Those of you that are interested, completely free. You don't have to be a student to join the Circle or the Discord channel. You can be anybody, and you can check out questions that our students are posting, interactions. You can ask your own questions. You can see posts like helpful tips that we post around and students post. So I encourage you all to join our Circle and Discord. And again, feel free to ask questions throughout the night as we jump into our first topic here at our webinar. Before we jump into that, we have a couple more messages from the chat. Okay, we have Gia, only experience is investing in Bitcoin. It's been a while since the last time I coded. All right, so it sounds like you have some experience with the blockchain ecosystem, the blockchain space, but haven't coded in a long time. So this course will be a great place for you to refresh your coding, remember how to code specifically for the blockchain. Jacob says, now I need to learn programming too. So many people know so much. It's true, it's hard to be in the financial industry or whatever industry you have really without programming these days. It definitely helps you automate tasks, helps you enter different cutting edge fields like blockchain. So yes, glad you're here, Jacob. Ron is asking, what are you using to stream from Circle and YouTube at the same time? Okay, so currently, I don't believe we are streaming on YouTube, but we will put it in post. So we will be putting the recording on post. All right, so now let's get into our first topic of the night. Why learn about blockchain in the first place? Why did Lumiwealth create this course? Well, the blockchain is an exciting space. It's relatively new compared to other industries. You can build a lot of cutting edge projects and get funding for your projects as well. You may have heard of the ways that blockchain is used in pop culture, like cryptocurrencies, NFTs. There's a lot of hype around those, but the power of the technology itself can be applied and is being applied in different industries. So not just limited to cryptocurrencies and NFTs. We can actually go beyond those concepts, those projects, and use the blockchain for other industries as well. Everything from building out websites to building out games, and especially in the financial industry, building financial tools. So we're built with this course, blockchain programming, because of this technology that is being used more and more in companies across different industries. So there's a high demand for blockchain programmers, but there are few resources out there, especially at something like a university course. It takes a long time to develop. So there's few resources, hence we built out this curriculum. Blockchain is changing the world in cryptocurrencies, using digital currencies to make payments and transactions, as well as NFTs or non-fungible tokens, which allow you to represent an asset with this blockchain technology. But beyond cryptos and NFTs, blockchain is also accessing and changing different industries. For example, a software industry like specifically video games. You can take a traditional video game and implement decentralized technology, blockchain being the most popular type of decentralized technology. For example, you can have a video game and connect it to cryptocurrencies. You can accept payments in cryptos. You can also take a video game and connect it to NFTs, where if you own a specific NFT, which represents an asset, so if you own that digital asset, then you can get a special, perhaps special clothing item or a special ability, special character in the game. So you can connect existing software with decentralized software. As well, blockchain is entering the web development space. So we're transitioning to a different phase of the internet from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0, where the web is more decentralized. So you can build a website and you can inject decentralized technology into it. This can be something simple like taking a website and changing how sign up and sign in works. So traditionally we have websites where if you wanted to sign up, you'd have to enter your email or a username, and you'd have to create a password to sign up. To sign in, you'd have to enter your email, your username, your password. If you forget your password, you have to type in, click I forgot my password, perhaps use your email to get your password. You'd have to use two-factor authentication. So this is all Web 2.0. With decentralized technology, we can have faster sign-ins through the blockchain. This is a simple way that you can use decentralized technology in software, putting it into a website where instead of signing up with a username and a password, there's no more of that. You just sign in via your crypto wallet. So you're signing into the site through the blockchain. Another way to add decentralized technology into a website is to access smart contracts. So we'll talk more about smart contracts tonight, but a smart contract allows you to put in a piece of functionality. For example, your online store. So traditionally, if I have an online store of a website, then users can come, customers can come, they can click that they want to buy this product, they can send a payment with their credit card, and they can get their product. With decentralized technology, you can use a smart contract to handle all the traditional store functionality. So all of the functionality can be stored on the blockchain and can become automated. And with decentralized technology, the process becomes more secure and more trustworthy, as well as more automated. You can also accept payments in crypto. So you can take your traditional setup of how your business is running, like a store, and you can put it onto the blockchain to automate it and to get all those other benefits. So that's another example of how a piece of software, like a game or a website in this case, can and is being injected with decentralized technology. So more and more companies are transitioning to implementing decentralized technology. So that was another example of a website where you can connect to the blockchain, connect to a smart contract. We'll get more into smart contracts, and in our course, we're actually going to be building tons of smart contracts to automate traditional processes. So this is known as Web 3.0 when you're talking about a website that uses the blockchain. So back in the 80s, we had Web 1.0, where we have static websites, not many developers out there, not many users or interaction. By 2000, we got to the phase that we're in currently, which is Web 2.0. So it's called Web 2.0 because there's a lot more data going around. It's a different phase of the web. There's more data because there's more social media, there are more web developers, there are more users. There's also these big companies that have monopoly over industries. They dominate sections of the web. And so it's hard for a small company to get their foot in the door, especially when they're trying to compete directly with a big company. So there's these large monopolies, these centralized entities. So that's why we're in the phase Web 2.0. But we are transitioning slowly into Web 3.0 as more and more developers and companies are implementing Web 3 technology, which means blockchain technology and smart contracts. So Web 3.0 is another example of how the blockchain is affecting different industries, not just cryptos and NFTs, but the actual web itself. Because with Web 3.0, the goal is to address some of the issues of Web 2.0. Issues such as these huge centralized entities that have a monopoly on industries and they even affect politics. But with Web 3.0, you can make websites and companies that are decentralized, which means they're actually user-owned. You may have heard of a decentralized autonomous organization, a DAO. This is where you have an organization that doesn't have any CEO, doesn't have any owner, but instead is managed by the users who can vote on what should happen next and who can propose what should happen next in the organization. So this is a direct address to the fact that we have these huge companies with huge monopolies in Web 2.0, the current phase. Web 2.0, we also have a lot of hacks and identity thefts. Emails being leaked and information being stolen all the time because Web 2.0 is insecure. It has less security features than Web 3.0 because the blockchain itself inherently has higher security than traditional software. And we'll talk more in our course about how the blockchain actually has its built-in encryption and security. So Web 3.0, another point and goal of it is to improve the security. So reduce the hacks, reduce the identity thefts. That's one of the reasons why blockchain is entering the financial industry so much, because of that security aspect of it. When you're handling money at a company, let's say maybe you're a trading company, you're passing around lots of money, you're at high risk of being hacked, getting money stolen, so you want to improve security. So that's another example of how blockchain is affecting different industries. So when we say blockchain, we're talking about the most popular form of decentralized technology, this software. Different companies are implementing blockchain technology, even into the music industry. Any company or any field that uses software can connect to decentralized software because it's just another type of software that is being implemented. Just some more code that you write in the simplest terms, really. And then, of course, transactions. That's a simple way that blockchain is changing the world. Back years ago, you couldn't make payments with crypto at most places. But nowadays, more and more restaurants, coffee shops are accepting transactions that you can make in crypto. So you can pay for things with crypto in the real world if you go to the mall. So that's another example of how blockchain is changing the world and is being adopted more and more each day, each year. So those are some examples of how blockchain is changing the world. A bird's eye view of how these different industries are being transformed. And so now perhaps you have a better idea of why there's hype around and popularity around blockchain, why there's a demand for programmers, because it does have these practical benefits, like I just mentioned, the security and the decentralization and the autonomous contracts, the automated processes that you can create. And we're going to learn how to create a lot of those in our course. Because of this Web3 transition, blockchain is sometimes called the future of the internet, because with decentralized technology, we can transition from Web 2.0 and we can make websites that are using Web 3.0. They're in that phase. Another reason to learn blockchain, other than that, is to make better investments. So some of you in the chat mentioned that you've invested in Bitcoin, you have some experience in investing. And so if you understand the space, if you know more about the blockchain ecosystem, how smart contracts actually work, then you can make better decisions about what blockchains should I invest in, what smart contracts look legitimate, if you can understand the code behind them, what companies sound realistic and are practical, what companies are actually using decentralized technology. All right, so that's another reason to learn blockchain. And one final list here in our reasons is good job prospects. So there is a high demand for blockchain programmers because it is a relatively new field. It's a new technology compared to traditional programming. So there's high demand, especially at financial companies and these new companies that are getting funding by different blockchains. So there's a lot of funding out there, whether you want to be an entrepreneur building your own project, or if you want to get hired at a company, at salary. So that is why learn blockchain. Hopefully you all are as excited as I am about the blockchain space now that you have a better idea of the kind of impact that decentralized technology is having. Next up, let's get into another big topic. Again, tonight is a teaser of the topics that we cover in our masterclass, like Bitcoin and Ethereum. But in our masterclass, we also do majority of building projects. So let's discuss what are Bitcoin and Ethereum. So these are the two most popular blockchains out there. Bitcoin began back in 2008 and Ethereum followed in 2015. So relatively new technologies, if Ethereum was built only 7 years ago. Before we jump into them, let's talk about what is a blockchain in the first place. You might have heard the term, I've been throwing it around all night, but what is behind the technology? What is behind the code? What is a blockchain? Well, a blockchain has many properties that make it a blockchain. At the end of the day, it's just code, software, and it has different properties that make it a blockchain. The number one property or point of a blockchain is to establish trust between parties without an intermediary. So let me give you a case scenario to describe this. Suppose you wanted to make a large purchase, or you wanted to hire someone for an important job. Typically, if I wanted to make a large purchase, like a house from you, I'd have to establish trust with you somehow. Usually I would go to a notary, I'd contact the bank. You have to establish trust to make sure that the transaction that you make, that if I buy the house, that it's a valid transaction. I'm not being scammed, that I'm buying a house that you actually own, that if I send you the money, I'm going to get the house in return, that I'll actually receive ownership of the house. If I send you the money, the ownership will be transferred. So traditionally, to establish this kind of trust, we use intermediaries. We use a third party, like we use notaries on both sides. We use the bank to perform the transaction or to get a mortgage. And so we need those intermediaries. With a blockchain, however, the intermediary becomes the blockchain itself. So the blockchain is a way of establishing trust between parties, whether it's a transaction or whether it's any kind of process. Though most commonly it will be a transaction. So if I was buying a house from you and I was using the blockchain to do it, I could send you the funds directly over the blockchain, and I can trust that the blockchain will validate the transaction and will send me the ownership of the house. So I don't have to involve the bank and the notary because I can trust that the blockchain will do the transaction automatically. And it does this via the smart contracts that we briefly mentioned. So the contracts, they actually say what will happen. So you can read the contract, and if you're satisfied with the contract, then you can make the transaction, you can send the money, and you can trust that the contract will do its automated job, because the contract states exactly what will happen when you send the money, and the contract cannot change. So you don't have to trust the person that owns the house. You don't have to trust the notary or the lawyer. You can just trust the contract that lives on the blockchain. So you can have that automated process. This could be a huge transaction like a house, or it could be you as an online shop owner and you have customers. And if you want your customers to trust that they will get their products, then you can do that with a smart contract where the customers can just read the contract. And if they're satisfied with the contract, then they can send the funds for the product to the contract. The contract will send them the product back. So the contract becomes the intermediary, and it's all done with code in an automated process. So the blockchain's number one property is to establish that kind of trust. The technical term for a blockchain is a time-stamped series of immutable transactions. So let's break that down because it's a lot of words. You can visualize a blockchain as, just like the name says, a chain of blocks. So a chain, just like you would have a regular chain, like a chain link fence, you have a chain that cannot be broken. This chain is a whole bunch of blocks that are chained together, and you cannot break the chain. So this is just a visual metaphor for the data structure of the code of the blockchain. So you can visualize it as a bunch of blocks that are all chained together. Each of the blocks contains data. The data could be a contract that I decided to create for my online shop, and I decided to put it on the blockchain. Then anyone can interact with that contract with whatever it's designed to do. The data can also be data about the transactions. So if a customer sends me 1 Ether to purchase my product to the contract, then all that gets recorded. So every transaction will get recorded. So I can see exactly if the customer made the payment when they said that they did, because everything gets stored in the blocks. Anytime there's any kind of interaction over the blockchain, it all gets recorded on the blockchain in a block. So that's why we call it a blockchain. Now, time-stamped means that each block and each transaction gets stamped with the date and the time that it happened. So you can see exactly when everything happened. So this is how we can establish trust over the blockchain another way, because it's transparent. We can see exactly what happened at any time. So if a customer claims that they sent you $1 million for your house, well, you can check to see if they actually did. And you can check to see when they did it. If they didn't do it, it will not be on the blockchain. Simple as that. Now, series just means a list. So it's a list that is all chained together, just like a chain of blocks. Immutable means that it cannot be changed. So once you put something onto the blockchain, you cannot reverse it. So once I put a contract onto the blockchain, I cannot change it. That's why it's called immutable. This is another way that we establish trust, another way that the blockchain is trustworthy, because you know that once a contract gets added, it cannot be changed. So the owner could not go in and say, actually, no, you won't get the house. Once the contract is put up, then it cannot be changed. Now, there can be limits, such as you who wrote the contract. You can say, okay, my house will be up for sale for a week, but after that, my house, no one can buy it anymore if they don't want it in a week. So you can set limits and restrictions, yes, but you cannot go in and change things afterward. You can build a second contract if you like, and you can direct all your customers to that new one. If you did want to make some kind of significant change to your structure, then you can make another contract. Transactions is the name for any kind of interaction that happens on the blockchain, because you have to sign every interaction. So if I want to make a contract and put it on the blockchain, it's called a transaction, because you actually have to pay a small fee to add it to the blockchain. If I want to make a purchase from you through the blockchain, that's also called a transaction. So any kind of interaction that makes a change to the blockchain is called a transaction. If you want to just check something on the blockchain, like you want to check how much the house costs, that's free. You can make that interaction for free. But if you want to change something, then that is called a transaction, and it does require a small fee if we are using the public mainnet, so the big network that everyone's using. The blockchain is not owned by any central entity if it is decentralized, such as Bitcoin and Ethereum. So there's no CEO, there's no owner. Instead, similar to how we already discussed earlier tonight, it's owned by the users. So it's managed by computers all around the world. If you wanted to, you could take your computer and you can actually connect it, and you can connect your computer to the network, and you can actually be one of the computers that is maintaining the blockchain, that's keeping it running, because it requires computer power to run. So if you wanted to, you can connect a computer. Usually you'll use a spare one because it will suck up some of your processing power of the computer. But if you wanted to, you could connect one of your computers and join the network that is keeping the blockchain running. So it's computers all around the world by people just like me and you. So that is what is keeping the blockchain running. The very first blockchain was Bitcoin back in 2008. And theories for blockchain technology were actually theorized back in the 90s, but then in 2008, the first blockchain was officially built, so coded out with Bitcoin. Since then, we've had many blockchains be created. Bitcoin remains the most popular, with Ethereum as the second most popular blockchain. Ethereum was created in 2015. So why do I focus on Bitcoin and Ethereum tonight? Well, Bitcoin because it's the first one that was created, but why Ethereum? So Ethereum I focus on, well, because it's number 2 most popular, but it's so popular because it was specifically built to improve upon Bitcoin and expand the features that are possible. So with Bitcoin actually came the invention of cryptocurrencies. So it actually was a significant new piece of technology that was created. But compared to Ethereum, Bitcoin is limited, because with Bitcoin, you cannot build those smart contracts that I was talking about. You can build simple scripts on Bitcoin, but you cannot build something complex like an online store in a contract on Bitcoin. That's because Ethereum was created specifically with contracts as a new feature. So that's why Ethereum was so popular when it was released in 2015 and to this day, because it created a significantly new iteration on Bitcoin, where we don't have just cryptocurrencies, we now also have contracts. So that's why we're focusing on Ethereum. And in our masterclass, we are going to be using Ethereum. We're going to be building contracts for the Ethereum blockchain because it is the most popular blockchain for building out smart contracts and decentralized applications. And if you know how to build smart contracts for one blockchain, like the most popular one, Ethereum here, for smart contracts, then you'll have a much easier time picking up another blockchain should you choose to do so. If you get hired at a company that doesn't use Ethereum, then you can follow the same things that you learned in our masterclass, just apply them to a different blockchain. So with Ethereum, we were able to now use smart contracts, which means we can take software, like I mentioned at the start of the night, like a game or a website or any other piece of software, and you can connect it to a blockchain. So this was quite significant because now we can build complex apps, complex software that is decentralized. So we're not just doing cryptocurrencies and NFTs like with Bitcoin, but we can also use contracts. So I've been talking about contracts all night, and let's get into what are contracts. So Solidity smart contracts. This is what we've been talking about all night when we've been discussing contracts. They're called smart contracts because they are written in code. So a regular contract I might sign if I get hired at a company, or if we are making a purchase, like if I'm buying a house from you, you might sign a contract to finalize or formalize the agreement. And a smart contract is similar in that the whole point is to build out an agreement between two parties, as I mentioned before, without intermediaries. But it can go beyond an agreement. It can also have any functionality that your software requires. For example, let's say I have an online store, back to our running example. I have an online store and I want to put it on the blockchain so that I can automate all my systems and I can get all the benefits of the decentralization. Well, in the contract, you don't just put an agreement. You can actually put all the functionality of your store. So in a contract, you can write out that you want to open the store every day at 8 a.m. and close the store every day at 5 p.m. if you wanted to. You can set whatever limits you want. You can say that you want to enable purchases, perhaps only from people in the United States if you have some limit. So you can set the conditions of your store. You can say, oh, I want to accept transactions in Ether. You can set up all your products. You can say, okay, I have 10 products when I start. I can add more products over time. And you can set the price for each product. You can say that, okay, when someone sends me 1 Ether, they will get this product if they interacted with that product. If they want to buy that another product, they can interact with that one. So in your contract, you can put all the functionality for your store or for whatever traditional technology you have. This could be a game, it could be website functionality, it could be social media functionality, whatever software you have that you want to make decentralized or autonomous with contracts. So it does go beyond just an agreement. It actually represents your whole system, your whole functionality, such as your company, like your store, or your social media functionality. Now, a smart contract is called a Solidity smart contract if it is for the Ethereum blockchain. So this is getting into how do we build these contracts. So if you want to build this contract, you cannot write it in English. So if I was going to write a contract to have you sign, then I would do that in English and then we would both sign it. But if you want to build a smart contract for Ethereum, you have to write it in code because a blockchain does not speak English. It can only understand code. So that's why we have to learn how to code if we want to build out these smart contracts, because we cannot write them in English. Instead, we write them in Solidity. So Solidity is a programming language, which means we use it to write code specifically for the Ethereum blockchain. So Solidity is the coding language for writing smart contracts for Ethereum. In our masterclass, we're going to learn the fundamentals of programming in Solidity. That way we can then build out Solidity smart contracts. So we're going to start from the very basics, how to code in Solidity, such as variables, loops, functions, and then we're going to also learn how to build contracts using our coding knowledge. So if you do have experience in another coding language, that will give you a great leg up for building smart contracts, because you do have to do it with code, with Solidity specifically. Solidity was designed for Ethereum. Now, if you want to get started with Solidity, I can drop a link in the chat. Someone was asking before, IT, can we see some code for what you're talking about? Yes, here you go. I will send in the chat remix.ethereum.org. So here you can actually get started building some contracts. Now, you may have a hard time if you are a beginner, so don't worry if you don't understand everything going on, because that's the whole point of our masterclass, is to teach you how to build these contracts. But Remix is the official online code editor that you can use to try out building contracts. So it's one way that you can start coding out these contracts. So you can start coding for free online at remix.ethereum.org. So if you do want to see an example of contracts, you can go to Remix and check them out. Don't worry, again, if you don't understand everything, because it can be overwhelming if you're a beginner. That's why we'll teach you everything you need to know about Remix and about Solidity in our course. We take you from a beginner to building advanced projects. So that is a Solidity smart contract. Now, some examples would be like a store, as I mentioned before, or a social media organization or project. Another example are financial instruments. So smart contracts are commonly used in the finance industry. You can build out a bank system to take deposits and withdrawals. A cryptocurrency, if you wanted to build your own cryptocurrency, you'd have to build a smart contract. If you want to build your own NFT, you'd have to build a smart contract. So any kind of system that you want to automate over the blockchain, then you will have to create a smart contract for that system. So because everything on the blockchain is represented as a smart contract, including a cryptocurrency and an NFT. You can define a trading system as a contract, a lottery, a crowdfunding campaign. Any kind of idea that you have for a piece of software, you can build as a smart contract. You can build a game or an online school, and you can represent all of the traditional functionality for that with a smart contract. So you're automating all the functionality and you're putting it onto the blockchain. So that would be the point of building a contract for your business, is to be able to have it run on the blockchain. One more topic for the night are cryptocurrencies and NFTs. So this is a hot topic these days in the news, and we will learn actually how to build a smart contract for a cryptocurrency and an NFT in our course. So we're going to do an overview of these two hot topics. Now, in our course, we're also going to learn how to build contracts for other industries as well. So not just cryptocurrencies and NFTs, but we will cover that in projects in our course. So let's get into these two topics. We'll start with a cryptocurrency. A cryptocurrency is a digital currency that is secured by cryptography. So it is encrypted with increased security. That's why it's called cryptocurrency. And with the invention of the Bitcoin blockchain came the invention of cryptocurrencies, as I mentioned earlier when we talked about the invention of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is an example of a cryptocurrency. So is Ether and ADA. There are tons of cryptocurrencies out there. You can even build your own cryptocurrency, which we will do together. Some cryptocurrencies are native to a blockchain, like Bitcoin is native to the Bitcoin blockchain, which means that you pay fees in that currency. The Ether cryptocurrency is native to the Ethereum blockchain. So you pay fees on Ethereum in Ether. So what is the whole point of a cryptocurrency? Why is it so special? Well, it's not just a digital currency. With the invention of a cryptocurrency, we actually solved the double spending problem in computer science. I say we, but of course it wasn't me. It was the anonymous creator of the Bitcoin blockchain. The double spending problem is being able to double spend virtual money. So to give you an example, let's say I wanted to send you an image. Perhaps I found a funny image online. Well, I could just email you or text you the image and you would get a copy of the image. Sure. I would have a copy of the image and you would have a copy of the image. But if I want to send you money, I cannot do the same thing. I cannot just send you a copy of my money, because then I have a copy of the money and you have a copy of the money. So I effectively just counterfeited it because I just copied it. Okay, it's like I printed it at home. That is the double spending problem, where with regular digital currency, like paying with your credit card, it's easier to double spend or counterfeit than it is for a cryptocurrency. So before a cryptocurrency or without it, it's much harder to prevent this double spending problem, where there can be more counterfeit transactions and more double spending, where hackers or people are trying to spend the same dollar, the same amount of money twice, or perhaps more than twice. They're trying to counterfeit it, send a copy. But with cryptocurrencies, we now make it nearly impossible to double spend a cryptocurrency. So this significantly reduces the number of counterfeit money that is being spent virtually, so online or digitally, and therefore improves security, especially if you are a financial company that is passing around a lot of money, that has a lot of transactions that are happening. So how does a blockchain do that? How does a cryptocurrency solve the problem? Well, it is thanks to the blockchain, because remember, when we invented the blockchain, when Bitcoin was invented, then it also invented cryptocurrencies, because the whole point of Bitcoin was to, initially, when Bitcoin was created, to track cryptocurrencies. So let's say I have one Bitcoin. Of course, you can divide it. It's fungible, so you can divide it into 0.001 of a Bitcoin. But let's say I have one Bitcoin and I spend it. So let's say I send it to you to make a purchase at your store that you have, or just I send it to you to buy a product. The blockchain, the Bitcoin blockchain, is going to track everything that happens on its blockchain, which means it's going to track where the coin went. So the blockchain, it tracks where coins go. So if I try to spend the exact same coin again, it will prevent me from doing so, because before any transaction is done on a blockchain, the blockchain actually verifies it and checks. Is the transaction valid? Does that person have enough crypto to do the transaction? Is that crypto actually valid and owned by them? So if I try to spend that Bitcoin again, the blockchain will actually prevent me from doing that transaction, because its checks will fail. It will say, you failed to validate. It won't say it, but it will prevent the transaction from going through, because it has tracked that I sent that coin away already. So I cannot spend it again. I can spend another one, sure, but not that exact unit of, it could be a fraction of a Bitcoin, but that exact unit of coin. It's like having a dollar bill, and if you give it to someone, then I no longer have it because it's in your hands or whoever I gave it to. It's the same thing on the blockchain. The blockchain is tracking who owns that exact dollar bill, because it can store and keep track of all those fractions or whole units of Bitcoin, where they went, where are they located. And it tracks this with addresses. So if I had one Bitcoin and then I sent it, the blockchain will track that it moved out of my address, it moved into someone else's address. So that is how we have this lack of double spending with cryptos, because the blockchain, its technology, it's going to validate each transaction and check, is it a double spending or a counterfeit transaction? And that is thanks to the nature of how the blockchain was built. So with its proofs, and this gets more into the technical side of the blockchain itself, how the blockchain is built. And different blockchains can actually do it differently, but they check with cryptography, they check the actual ownership of the coin, They check the transaction itself before it gets added to a block on the chain. So that is a bird's eye view of how cryptocurrencies are so secure and why cryptocurrencies are used to improve security and to make it nearly impossible to double spend. So that is a cryptocurrency. Next up, we have cryptos versus tokens. So I briefly mentioned this already. Cryptocurrencies have their own blockchains. So if you have a native cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, it has its own blockchain. It's tied to the Bitcoin blockchain. If you want to build your own cryptocurrency, you're actually building a crypto token because you're building it on top of an existing blockchain. So it's still the same function. You can still build a cryptocurrency, but it's technically a crypto token because you're building it on top of a blockchain. If you want to build your own native cryptocurrency, then you'd have to build your own blockchain, which you can do if you'd like. But in our course, we're going to be building cryptocurrencies as tokens because this is the most common way to build a cryptocurrency because you don't have to build your own blockchain. So if you have a cryptocurrency that doesn't have its own blockchain, for example, if we wanted to create our own Lumicoin so that our students can buy Lumicoin and then they can spend it in classes or to buy items, well, instead of having to build our own Lumi blockchain, we can just build a Lumicoin that exists on top of an existing blockchain. So for example, Ethereum, the most common one. Now, a token is just representing any asset on the blockchain. So that's why a token is like the umbrella term for any asset, like a cryptocurrency. A cryptocurrency is one type of crypto token. Another type is an NFT, which we'll also build in our course. An NFT stands for non-fungible token. So a cryptocurrency is a fungible token. Fungible meaning it's divisible. You can divide it into fractions. Non-fungible means you cannot divide the asset into fractions. So there's fungible versus non-fungible tokens. So we'll look at how to build smart contracts for the two types and also for other use cases as well, for things like a bank and to perform trading as well. So we have fungible versus non-fungible. Fungible also means that every token can be interchanged for another one. So if I have a cryptocurrency, if I send you 1 Ether and you send me 1 Ether back, then we haven't changed any value. If we're not including any of the transaction fees, it's the same thing as using a dollar bill. If I give you a dollar bill and you give me a dollar bill, well, nothing has changed. We still have the same dollar bill. That's because dollar bills and cryptocurrencies, they are fungible tokens. So it doesn't matter which one you own. It matters how many do you own. But with an NFT, with a non-fungible token, it actually matters what you own. So NFTs are used for when you want to have an asset that is not divisible. So this is commonly used these days to represent a piece of art or to represent virtual land or real estate, or it can be tied to a real world asset like a product, like a clothing item or a shoe that you buy at a store, but it doesn't have to be. It can just be a completely virtual item. It can be connected to software. For example, if I have an NFT number 105 for this game, then I can access a special character in a game and play as that character. So an NFT can just be a completely digital asset, like a digital piece of artwork that it's representing, or it can be tied to a real world asset, or it can be tied to a digital asset, like that game example. So we have these two main types of tokens. We have the cryptocurrency, the fungible token, and we also have the non-fungible token. So these are the two most popular types of tokens out there that we can build as smart contracts, and we will learn how to do that in our course. All right, so that is an overview of cryptocurrencies and NFTs. And it also concludes our final topic for the night. So this was a teaser of the topics in our masterclass, and we didn't do any project building, but the majority of our course is actually project building. So next up, we're going to talk about the curriculum for the course. So we'll break down each week of what you will learn. First, let me drop a link to the course in the chat so you can all follow along. This is where you can read the curriculum and you can purchase the course. Also, if you purchase 2 courses, please note you can get 10% off automatically. All right, so let's go to that link. Here it is, lumiwealth.com. Under courses, we have blockchain programming. So here you can read about the course itself, the different plans and payment options that we have, and you can see each of the course weeks, which we will talk about from week 1 to week 8. First, here are the course plans. We do have 3 and 5 month payment plans available if you need. And we do have invoices that we can create for employer reimbursement. So we'd be happy to help with any questions that anyone may have at any time with payment plans or invoices. So we have 3 different plans that you can choose to take for this course. First is the self-directed plan. So with this plan, you'll get lifetime access to this course's video library. So this means you get all of our recordings for our curriculum, you get all the source code, and you get all of the recordings for not just this semester, but actually every semester. So this is where Lumiwealth is unique because you'll get every semester that we've ever done. You can watch back through time. You can also watch in the future with any of our plans. So you get lifetime access to that video library. You also get access to our Lumiwealth community and instructor support, and to weekly discussion hour where you can chat with students and instructors. Our second option is the live classes version. So here you get everything from the previous plan, but in addition, you get 8 weeks of live classes. So we meet for 2 hours per week, every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific or 8 p.m. Eastern. And here we go through each week, we go through that week's curriculum and that week's project. So step by step, you can watch live with me, and you can also ask questions throughout the night and after the night. So it's a very interactive live class. We also have 6 hours of dedicated live Q&A with this plan. And of course, you get access to all future videos and code. So again, you get that whole library of videos throughout time, past semester, present semester, and future semester. You also get help with 2 personal projects. You can get to know your fellow classmates, work on projects. We offer resume and interview preparation help if you are applying for a blockchain programmer job. We also have unlimited email and chat Q&A, so a lot of instructor support. Our final plan available is the project help or tutoring plan. So you get everything from the previous 2 plans. As well, you get help with building a custom project, including software development from our team if needed. So if you have a company in mind that you want to create or a project that you want to create, you need help building out a large portfolio to apply for a job, this is a great plan option for you. If you don't have a project in mind, but you just want extra tutoring, that's also the plan for you, because with this plan, you get 10 hours of one-on-one video or phone sessions or software development time with our experts. So if you do want that extra one-on-one tutoring, then this is the plan for you. So these are our 3 options for the plans that you can take for this course. We'd be happy to answer any questions over email, or you can book a call with us. I'm going to drop a link in the chat to our email. Alicia is our #1 contact at Lumiwealth, so I will drop a link to her email in the chat. You can also book a call with us via the website. I'll drop a link to that in the chat as well. Let's carry on here and go to our next section on this page, the course curriculum. All right, so let's dive into each week of the course and what you will learn. So starting off in week 1, we will do an introduction to blockchain, solidity, and smart contracts. So similar to how we did tonight, but with more detail into all of the technical aspects of blockchain, smart contracts, and solidity. In week 2, we will get into programming fundamentals with solidity. So we'll learn key programming topics with practical examples of variables, arrays, mappings, and conditionals. So these are programming topics that are actually applicable to most programming languages, but we're specifically going to look at Solidity because Solidity is its own programming language. So even if you know another language, that will give you a great head start for sure, but Solidity does have its own features that you should be aware of. So if you don't know how to code, that's completely fine because we will cover the basics here in week 2. In week 3, we get started with building out our first smart contracts. So we'll look at some practical smart contracts and build them together, such as for data storage, for splitting profits, and for setting limits and conditions. Next up, we get into week 4, where we learn how to build more smart contracts with inheritance and with modifiers. So setting more restrictions on our contracts. For example, if you want to open your store at a certain time, if you want to start your NFT marketplace at a certain date, you can set all of those limits in your contract. So we'll learn how we can build specific contracts, whether it's for your own project that you want to create, or if you get hired by a client or a company and they give you a specific contract that they want, then you'll be able to build that out. Week 5, we build more contracts, including a bank, and we learn how to set more limits. So we get into more advanced contracts in week 5. In week 6, we get into building out cryptocurrencies and NFTs. So we will learn how to build a cryptocurrency token and an NFT token using the official Ethereum standards. So that's where we get into cryptocurrencies and NFTs. In week 7, we learn how to send our NFT into the world, so how we can put it onto a marketplace. We also learn how to use cryptocurrency wallets and key development tools like Truffle, Node, and NPM. We get into the command line, as well as the Ganache personal blockchain. So we learn how to use tools for managing blockchain projects. Week 8, we finish off with our capstone project of building and deploying a smart contract from start to finish with Truffle, which is a very popular blockchain project management tool. So you can manage all your code with Truffle. We'll also discuss where to go from here, how to get ready for the coding interview, and prepare your portfolio for applying for jobs or for building out your own projects, whichever path you are interested in. We also have a question from Kenneth. If I never programmed before, can I still do this? Yes, the majority of my students are complete newbies to programming. So yes, even if you don't have any programming experience, you can follow along. We also have Alicia, who says, I'm very familiar with Alicia from New York. Tell her I say hey. Will do. Great to hear that we have some prior students or perhaps just some prior contacts. Glad to have you here, Alicia. All right, so those are the 8 weeks. If anyone has any questions about the curriculum, feel free to ask away. Or again, you can email us or you can ask us on Discord or Circle at any time. We're happy to answer any kind of question that you may have. Let's talk next about when the class begins. So our next semester actually starts very soon, June 9th. So in just a couple weeks, we start our next semester. Registration is closing in 2 days. So I encourage you all to get your registration in if you are interested in our course. Azam is asking, is there an age restriction? No, we have no age restriction. Regardless of your age, you can enroll in the course. So yes, registration closes in a couple days. The course length is 8 weeks, excluding holiday breaks. We do have a 2-week break around the halfway point in the course. The effort depends on your goals for the course. So if you just want to watch each week, that is totally fine. There will be optional homework that you can complete if you want more practice. If you do want to get hired as a blockchain programmer or add coding to your resume, then you will require more effort each week to review the slides and to try out some of the code, try out the homework. So it depends on your goals for the course, but average is 8 to 12 hours per week. We meet every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 5 p.m. Pacific Time. So just like how we started tonight, except on a Thursday. And we meet 2 hours each week over Zoom if you are doing the live classes option. If you're doing the self-paced option, then you will just get the recordings after, or you can watch our existing library because we do have a couple semesters that we've already taught. If you have the project tutoring or the custom project plan, then you can watch live. We also have another semester in September. So if you do want to start in the fall, you can do that too. If you register by August 1st, you can use a coupon code to save 20%. So I will drop a message in the chat with the coupon code. So if you do want to get that early bird special, then you can do that for the fall semester. If you register for 2 classes at once, you actually get 10% off automatically. So you can get 10% off still for June if you do that. I'm going to show you how you can enroll. So at the top of the menu at Lumiwealth.com, you have your cart. So you can click on your cart to see if you have anything in the cart. So my cart is currently empty. I can add some of these suggested courses to my cart, or I can return to shop. I can go back to the Lumiwealth.com/shop. So I will drop a link to our shop. Here you can select which course you want, such as blockchain course live classes. You can select the different options for that. So you can select, do you want the course starting in June or January, March, or September? So if you want to start next semester, it is June. The fall semester, you select September. You can select how many you'd like. If you have a friend or a coworker that wants to sign up, you can select more than one. And for example, I can select 2 and then add to cart. Then you'll see it will be added to your cart. Right? And you can change that anytime and update your cart. If you want to add a second course, you can do that via the shop. So I'm going to load more, and here you can go back to Lumiwealth.com/shop. The cart will be saved. So the course that I recommend to take alongside this one or after this one is Web3. This course is actually designed specifically to be going alongside with blockchain programming. So once you complete blockchain programming, Web3 would be a natural next step. So if you did want to add a second course, you just have to go to the course here on page 2. Here we have Web3 development using React. Here we cover the front end side of blockchain programming. This course is all about the back end side, smart contracts. But if you want to learn about the front end side, Web3, then we have this second course. So you can select that course, select that as an option. So here you can select to start in the fall as a natural next course, or you could do it alongside. If you do have programming experience, then you can do it at the same time, or you can do it after. Again, you can add it to your cart and you'll be taken back to the cart. Now, if you do have 2 courses added, then you will automatically get a 10% off discount. So if you do want to choose 2 courses at once, you can save some discount. Then you can proceed to checkout and you'll be able to enroll in the course. So that is the enrollment process, just like that. You can also make the enrollment through the course page itself. So if you go to the course page, which I can drop a link to in the chat again, you can scroll down to the plans and you can make the purchase here as well. So you can select one of the options like project tutoring. You can add that to your cart and you'll go to the cart. All right, so you have two different ways for enrolling, either via the shop or via the course page itself. All right, so I will drop a link to the cart as well for those of you that are interested in checking out the enrollment process. Again, for blockchain, I encourage you to enroll now because the registration ends in 2 days. So if you want to get in for our summer semester coming up next, then you have 2 days to do that. Now, if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I also want to let everyone know we have another free webinar coming up next Monday. So in 6 days, we have another webinar, which I will be hosting for our Web3 course. So if you are interested in our complimentary course Web3, which is like the natural next step after blockchain programming, or which can be taken on its own, whichever you prefer, if you want to learn the back-end side of blockchain programming or the front-end side. We have a course for the front-end side here, getting started with Web3 dApp development. So we will have a webinar all about Web3 on Monday, May 30th at 5 p.m. Pacific or 8 p.m. Eastern. So we will notify you on Circle about that webinar. It will be on Zoom actually, but we'll give you a notification on Circle. Kenneth is asking, do you have payment plans? Yes, we do have payment plans. I'll go back to blockchain programming and scroll down. So we have 3 and 5 month payment plans. So you can select the payment plan option when you are doing that. So I'm going to just go back to my cart and show you that. If you need a different payment plan other than 3 and 5 month options, which are the default, then feel free to email us. But yes, we do have our 3 and 5 month payment plans. All right, so if you go to complete the order, you can enter your billing and shipping, and then here you can select if you want to pay with a payment plan. So here you can select 3-month payment plan or 5-month payment plan, right? So you can select which one you like. If you want a different payment plan other than this, you can email us. All right, so that will be automatically done. You can automatically add the payment plan. Great question. Azam says, I have a problem with Solana on my computer. So Solana is another blockchain. It's not Bitcoin or Ethereum. Let's see. Feel free to let us know your problem. We'd be happy to help. I do recommend posting on Circle. So we are not actually using Solana in this course. We're using Ethereum in this course. But I am happy to help if you have a question about the Solana blockchain, which is a different blockchain. Right, so here is a link to our Circle where I encourage you to drop questions. We have specifically a thread for blockchain programming where you can ask away about blockchain or Web3 with almost 300 members. We also have a question from Alicia. Do you have classes for AI trading? Yes, we do have algorithmic trading as another course here at Lumiwealth. We also have crypto trading with algorithms. So I can drop links to that in the chat. Here we have crypto trading using algorithms first, how to use the Python programming language to automate your cryptocurrency trading. You'll build your own crypto trading robots, so your own AI. We also have algorithmic trading. Here you can learn investing strategies, learn data science, and how to apply that in finance. So how to build out algorithms for trading. So not quite robots, that would be the algorithmic trading course, but algorithms, so similar, still code. So yes, we do have AI trading classes that you can check out. Great question. Right, so here is the curriculum for the algorithmic trading one. And then I dropped a link to the curriculum for our algorithmic crypto trading course. So yes, we do have AI trading courses that are starting soon. All of the courses we have are listed on our website here. We have crypto trading using algorithms, Web3 using React, algorithmic trading, machine learning, options trading, and blockchain programming. Azam says, I am 9 years old and I have 4 years of experience with coding like React, JS, and HTML. All right, so that is some great experience, React, JS, and HTML. We are using React heavily in our Web3 course. So if you do have React experience and you want to learn how to build websites with the blockchain, then I recommend the Web3 course. If you're more interested in the smart contracts themselves, then I recommend the blockchain programming course. But if you're more interested in websites, then I recommend Web3. Happy to help, Alicia. Feel free to let me know if you have any other questions. I'm happy to stick around. All right, Azam says I have a website as well. Okay, glad to hear. So yes, Azam, feel free to let us know your goals. Do you want to learn more about the smart contract side of blockchain programming, how to actually build those automated contracts and put them on the blockchain? Or do you want to build out websites that interact with those contracts, interact with the blockchain? This would be, as I mentioned earlier tonight, implementing Web3, implementing blockchain in the web development industry. So if you did want that part, then I recommend the Web3 course. All right, if anyone has any other questions, feel free to ask away. Another reminder, we will have another webinar Monday, May 30th with yours truly, that is me, getting started with Web3 dApp development. So very similar to blockchain programming, however, about specifically how to build decentralized apps. So earlier tonight, we mentioned blockchain is changing the world. One way is via web applications and Web3. So if you want to specifically build web applications with Web3 and blockchain, then that would be the course for you. Blockchain programming covers smart contracts for all different types of industries. But if you want to specifically build out the front end or the website with the blockchain technology inside, then I recommend the Web3 course. If you have coding experience, like some of you mentioned that you did have coding experience, then you can actually take both courses at the same time. But if you don't have coding experience, I recommend first doing blockchain programming and then doing Web3 dApp development. Or of course, just choose your preference of, do you want to learn the back-end side or the front-end side? If you do want to become a blockchain programmer, it is recommended to know all sides of blockchain programming. That way you have a comprehensive understanding of everything that's going on in a project, even if you are specialized in just one area. Azam is asking, will we be learning hard hat? So in this course, we're only going to be learning truffle, which is very similar to hard hat. The reason we chose truffle is because it is the easiest for beginners to learn, and it is the most popular one. And as well, it has the most documentation. So it's the easiest to follow along with as a beginner. But hard hat is very similar. It just has more features and is a bit more complex. So if you do want to learn hard hat, then truffle is a natural first step, and then hard hat you would go to next as an alternative that has more features. Of course, you don't have to learn hard hat. You can stick to truffle. But yes, hard hat would be a natural next step. It's another alternative to project management for blockchain projects. If you did want extra tutoring or had any questions about hard hat, we'd be happy to help you out with whatever you're building in hard hat if you did want to really learn hard hat. But in the course curriculum, we specifically focus on truffle. If we have a high demand for hard hat or supplementary videos about hard hat, then I'd be happy to make that extra content. We do take our student recommendations seriously. So if we do get a lot of interest in a topic like hard hat, then we will add it to the curriculum. Currently, we don't have huge interest. We therefore are sticking to truffle, at least for the main curriculum. But we do make supplementary videos all the time. Whenever someone has a topic that they're interested in, we add it to the library. Great question. Sounds like you have some experience in the blockchain space. If anyone has any similar questions about the curriculum, feel free to ask away. If anyone has a question about the Web3 course, feel free to ask as well, because I do teach Web3 as well. I teach the blockchain programming course here at Lumiwealth, and I teach the Web3 course here at Lumiwealth. So I'm happy to answer questions about either course. The two are in the same industry, the blockchain industry, but they do cover different topics. Azam says, yes, I do have experience. I created a Twitter clone with Blockchain and Solidity, and I'm creating a Facebook clone too. Awesome. Okay, so sounds like you have Solidity experience with building smart contracts. In some of those social media examples that I was mentioning earlier tonight, Twitter and Facebook, yes, you can clone them in smart contract format so that they become automated. It sounds like a great project. Landon says, makes it easier with its own blockchain built in. Let's see. I assume Landon is talking about hard hat. Feel free to clarify, Landon. Happy to discuss. So yes, here on screen is the Web3 course, which we also are running this summer. Web3 dApp development with React. All right, it looks like the chat is winding down. So if no one has any further questions, then I will leave you all here. Again, feel free to email us, message us on Circle, on Discord, book a call with us if you do have any comments or questions. And I hope to see you in June for our summer semester for blockchain programming or Web3, or in September for the fall semester. Even closer, I hope to see you at our Monday webinar, which is happening on Monday about Web3, completely free, just like this, but all about Web3. Azam is saying another thing like truffle called cargo is getting very popular. And Lennon says, yes. Awesome. Glad to hear you all have some experience in the blockchain space. That means the more experienced my students are, the more complex projects we can build and that I can suggest. So we do tailor our courses to our students. All right, everyone, thank you so much for your comments tonight. I'm very happy and excited to hear about your projects that you already have built and perhaps that you want to build in the future. I'd be happy to help you with project development and insights, consulting into any project that you have. I hope to see you as a student in my course for that. Otherwise, it sounds like everyone is winding down, so we will end our webinar here. Now we will record this. It is recording, so if anyone wants to rewatch, we will be publishing this on YouTube at Lumiwealth, at our YouTube channel. Otherwise, I will see you all Monday if you are coming to our webinar. Thank you everyone for joining, and we will end the stream now.